Israel has received moral support from America since its establishment as a nation in 1948. And by 2022, the U.S. provided this new nation with non-inflation adjusted monetary support that totaled around $150 billion. And since 1972, the United States has exercised diplomatic protection of Israel through persistent vetoes at the UN Security Council. The Trump administration legalized Israel's capital ownership of Jerusalem by shifting the U.S. Embassy there in 2017, thus cementing the United States' support for Israel's dominance. Historical records show the United States cast vetoes against 53 UN Security Council resolutions that targeted Israel during the 13 years between 72 and 85 because of its enduring political backing of Israel. U.S. interests in the Middle East are to secure energy, resist outside influence, support Israel, combat terrorism, promote democracy, and control refugee flows. Israel finds support from both Christian evangelicals and American Jews, mainly because of religious or cultural bonds, while their position on U.S.-Israeli relationships stand as their top strategic priority.
So, like a curious traveler on a quest, we embark upon a journey of information. Stay with us for a ride into knowledge.
The United States views Israel as its essential strategic partner that supports Middle East policy goals. And the strategic alliance connects these countries through their shared military support, while it's exchanging intelligence data and conducting trading activities. Now, after Hamas did what it did on October 7th, countries in the Middle East had to make some decisions. Remember the Abraham Accords that started a new friendship in 2020? Well, that has now been put to the test. But good news for the U.S. Jordan, the country of Jordan, is complying. After all, we give them lots of money every year. Jordan has received more than $31 billion in U.S. aid since relations were established in 1949. The bulk of that has come in the decades since Jordan made a cold peace with its neighbor Israel in 1994. In 2022, the U.S. State Department agreed to a new deal to supply Jordan with $1.45 billion per year in aid through 2029. The U.S. military has also spent hundreds of millions of Defense Department dollars to help Jordan bolster its military forces and secure its borders with Iraq and Syria. And in exchange, Jordan has long served American interests well in the region. It hosts U.S. troops on its soil, provides intelligence and diplomatic support for a myriad of initiatives. It houses hundreds of thousands of Syrian refugees and remains a constructive actor for the Middle East peace. And for most foreign policy practitioners, these competitive activities would be enough to justify billions in American aid. But spending on foreign assistance is a much harder sell to the American public these days. More Americans are questioning the value of U.S. global engagement and especially the financial cost of supporting allies, such as Israel. And these questions have some common sense roots. After all, why provide aid to nations whose actions don't completely align with American interest? Why subsidize nations that fail to adequately spend to defend their own people? What's the point of all this spending? Our government has said, fortunately, the country of Jordan's actions in helping defend Israel on April 13th justified the large sums of bilateral assistance funded by American tax dollars. All indications show that Jordan, along with Saudi Arabia, provided invaluable assistance as the Iranians' attack got underway. Reuters reported that Jordanian planes shot down dozens of Iranian drones. And according to other reports, Jordan allowed the Israeli Defense Forces to intercept drones and missiles over that kingdom. These steps reflect the kind of burden shaping that Americans rightfully demand from their allies, especially those in the Middle East and the support of Israel. In militarily supporting the defensive response from Israel and its allies and partners, the Jordanian government is taking on an enormous risk. Jordan is home to millions of people who either claim Palestinian refugee status or are descendants of Palestinians. The presence of this substantial population inside the country's borders poses a political threat to Jordan's government. 3 decades of Jordanian rapprochement with Israel has not tampered down most Palestinians' hatred of Israel or disdain for the Jordanian government's acceptance of it. This simmering anger means that Amman lives in perpetual fear of a coup. The attacks of October 7th have intensified the potential for the downfall of the Jordanian government. Large anti-Israel, pro-jihadist protests have broken out in the streets of Amman in recent weeks, with many demonstrators also calling for an end to the dynasty led by King Abdullah. Iran, Hamas, and the Muslim Brotherhood have worked hard to foment these demonstrations, exporting indigenous anger in hopes of ejecting the regime in Amman, installing an Islamic government, and using the country as a platform from which to attack Israel from yet another direction. Iran's inference conforms to the Iranian regime's pattern of using proxy militias and outlaw groups to advance its goals. A new report by the Middle East Media Research Institute outlines plans by Hezbollah in Iraq to establish a 12,000-strong military inside Jordan's borders. Iran is infiltrating Jordan using convoys from Iraq laden with humanitarian aid bound for the Palestinians. Drug smuggling activities along Jordan's border with Syria, largely conducted by groups linked to Syrian director and Iranian ally Bashar al-Assad, also gave Iranian opportunity to funnel weapons to hostile factions. And curiously, a claim that Jordanian Prince Salman, an Air Force pilot, shot down multiple Israeli drones on April 13th gained traction on social media. It doesn't appear to be true, but the rumor may have been an Iranian piece of disinformation designed to stroke Palestinian anger against the royal family. And in this context of mounting anti-government anger, the Jordanian government's decision to join a military engagement against Iran was historically bold. And as the Israel-Iran conflict continues to unfold, April 13th likely will not mark the last time the kingdom is forced to make a hard decision. For now, Americans should be grateful that a country which receives billions in American aid is resisting Iranian imperialism, defending our ally Israel, and strengthening momentum for regional security cooperation. When it comes to Jordan, what Americans are really spending money on is their courage. Just more food for thought.
Thanks for watching this and all our videos. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until we meet again, stay curious, fellow travelers, and have a great day.